coming. 1.5. I can barely hear anything. Why can't I hear anything? Very low. Can you hear me well? Can you count to three?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you well.
Mm-hmm. Why can I barely? Uh, I cannot hear me. Yeah, this happened to me a couple of days ago. That me speaking doesn't feed well into. Add me again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 5. Oh, why is the audio so low? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 5. Maximum input. Very low. 1, 2, 3. I cannot hear myself. This is horrible. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let me refresh this thing. Let me refresh. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Terrible. Let me refresh StreamYard. Let's see if that helps reload. Now, by the time I refreshed, the audio was already good. Terrible. 1, 2, 3, 5. Again, very low. 3, 4, 5. I cannot hear myself. Let me unplug it. No, where's? Oh, you say you can hear me well.
Yes, I can hear you well.
So here, yeah, let me give you the link. I'll give you the chat. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my god, this is just so terrible. I don't know why this is happening. Oh, it's much better. Suddenly it goes up and then it goes back down.
I can hear you through the screen pretty well.
Yeah, now it's good. But before, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it seems to be stabilized. I don't know what's causing this. All right. Okay, so I guess we can start. So go ahead. What's the question?
Do you have some sort of claim?
That's the question. I have many claims. I have a very long list of claims. Here's the. I'll give you a link to the list of all the claims that I have written thus far, so you can pick one from there.
Okay. Do you have any in particular that you want to talk about?
Anything in particular? Are you like a leftist? Are you socialist, or are you free market? What's your economics stance?
I will try to be as neutral as possible and not reveal my position.
Why?
And
Why don't you tell me what you believe? Well, let's debate whatever you believe and I believe. Let's see who's right. Let's try to convince each other. Why pretend to be something you're not? What's the purpose? Would you want to be neutral? I don't even know what it means to be neutral. I mean,
I'll be asking you questions why you believe it.
okay, but you don't have to be neutral. You can tell me what you believe and convince me to believe what you believe. Hello, Joe Tits 87. All right, Paul.
Well, hello, Mr. Slave. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. We're doing an interview, I guess, slash debate. So go ahead, Paul. What's the question?
Go ahead, Paul.
Whenever you're ready, Paul.
Whenever you're ready, Paul.
What's going on? Jotis, hold on. Paul, you're gonna start? Paul, can you?
Do you want to talk about global warming is
Yeah,
unscientific?
yeah. Global warming. Yeah, sure. Global warming. That's a proposition. Let's talk about the global warming.
It's
Right.
getting awfully warm.
Global warming, like a Russian.
Global warming.
Warming. Global warming.
I
Okay.
love global women.
Yeah. All right,
They
Paul.
get round.
So you believe global warming is real? Paul, you
I
believe?
want to interview you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't. I don't want to.
That's fine. It's whatever you want. I'm ready and willing. Whatever you
That is
want.
a nice position, Paul.
So why do you believe that global warming is scientific?
I believe global warming is not scientific. I mean, let's start from the fact that I don't think there is any evidence for global warming. What's the evidence?
The polar ice caps melt.
Um.
Why?
Okay. So they say that if the polar ice cap melts, then we should have the sea level rise. For example, if I'm not mistaken, right? Does it follow?
That is one. Yeah, that is one thing that happens when it melts. Yes.
One thing is enough. All right. So if the proposition is that global warming is true, is real, is a scientific phenomenon, and
Right.
one of its symptoms is that it melts the ice cap at the north or the south or both or whatever, and therefore uh, the sea level, the ocean sea level, should rise. All right. Then when I go to the beach, I should be able to see, I should be able to take a snapshot of basically the average beach on the planet and compare it to to that same photo from, let's say, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, and I should be able to see that the shoreline has changed, namely that it has moved inland. So on average, I expect to see the shorelines moving inland on average. Now, if I don't see such a motion, if I don't see the shorelines moving in towards inland, then it must be that the ice caps are not melting. And then it must be that there is no global warming. And when you take a picture, you take a snapshot of any beach, you choose any beach you want. Certainly on average, but I've never seen any picture of any beach where the water line has moved inland. Not a single one. But I don't. A single one is not convincing. But
You could probably get a lot of photos like that from the old Hawaiian photos.
listen, I'll repeat. I have never in my life seen any such photo. Now, I happen to.
Well, there you have it. You have to go to Hawaii. You're going on vacation soon.
I shouldn't need to go to Hawaii. I should. I mean, the global warming, the people that the global warming hysterics, the people that promote the global warming agenda, that should be the evidence. They shouldn't need any evidence.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but there was an entire island that fell into the ocean because of the rising sea levels.
No, that's nothing. I need every. Actually, I need every.
Well, then I don't know what to tell you. The island fell into the ocean.
No. Every single example can be.
No, it's called the island of Molokai.
Okay. Every single example, any single example can be explained away as a one off. But what we need is to show that on average, all the beaches,
Oh, I get it. I get it.
we need
I understand the process of elimination.
no. We need statistics. We can't have a one. We cannot. It doesn't make sense that if all the oceans on the planet rise, then one beach somewhere should display inland motion. No, on average, all the beaches need to display their.
Well, maybe something happens when it melts. It doesn't go just into the ocean. And maybe it changes the temperature and freezes something else.
I asked you, if, right? So, as far as I know, this is what the global warming believers. This is what they kept saying for forever. They said the warming is going to cause ice cap melting, and that's going to cause sea level rise. And yeah, and and as far as I know, there's no sea level rise because the beaches should be moving, but they're not. I live by the beach, and I'm very old, and it has not moved. And I can show you pictures from over 100 years ago, from about 100 years ago. It has not moved, and I don't know of any beach that has moved. So it's complete nonsense. There's no evidence in this direction. If you cross it,
Well, then global warming, that's just stupid. Global warming is not real. That's just stupid.
look, I don't know what it means. Stupid. It's just unscientific. Namely, there is no evidence.
Yeah, global warming does not work. It's not a thing. I believe you.
Look, you don't have to believe me. This is just one line of interrogation. One.
Whereas I am sure as hell not going to go to the beach and measure it.
It's not about measuring. This is not something you can measure. You need to look at a picture of the beach now and compare it to a similar.
No, I take you for your word. I take you for your word.
No, don't take me for my word. You need to go to any beach or multiple beaches around the globe, take a picture, and compare it. Well, first you have to find pictures.
Well, I just can't afford to go on vacation. I'm at work right now. I don't even have time for myself.
Joey,
I barely have time to watch The Walking Dead.
look, Joey, come on. If you don't want to talk seriously, then I'm done. I'm not gonna clown around. You want to talk seriously? We can talk seriously. You want to make fun?
All right, I'm not talking to you. I'm going to listen to you.
All right, but I think we lost.
Hey, excuse me. Hey, can I ask why you attempt to measure sea level rise in such a subjective and unscientific way?
What do you, okay, how do you offer we measure sea level rise?
For example, tide gauges and through satellites. That's how you measure the sea level.
How do you measure what is tide gauges? Explain.
Well, okay. With satellites, they can scan the ocean and see their levels of rise and fall. They take an average, and they compare it to how it was before, and you can measure the sea level that way. And using things like that, we can create graphs of the sea level.
Wait,
And there is
how do you,
one which shows
no.
the.
Wait.
There is one.
Wait,
there is one graph that shows the change in sea level,
wait,
and
can you hear me?
I can post it in the chat if you want. I can't hear you, but I'm ignoring you. I can post it in the chat if you want,
Wait, why are you? What do you mean you're ignoring me? Why do you?
because you're speaking waffle. That's why you're posting waffle. So I can post it in the chat if you want.
Wait, I couldn't hear you.
This
Why would you ignore me?
I can post it because you're speaking waffle. That's why. I can post it in the chat if you want.
I don't understand you. Can you speak slower and clearer? Why would you ignore me?
Because you're waffling.
I'm waffling. I'm what?
Yeah,
What is waffling?
you're waffling. You're waffling.
What is waffling? What does that mean?
Speaking garbage. Speaking drivel. You're saying nothing. Emptiness.
I'm asking. I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand how you would go about measuring sea rise,
Did-
sea level rise.
Did I not just tell you?
I
Oh,
kept asking you
uh,
to stop and clarify. You refused, and you went on. So you can tell me. But if you,
I did. I talked about how you could use it with satellites, but you just didn't listen.
I tried to stop you so that you can explain. I don't know what it means through satellite. Okay, I put it. I'm gonna put a satellite
Okay.
in space. What? Oh, they're gone. What a surprise. Oh, I'm so surprised. Oh my god. Yeah, global warming is so real. I'm telling you, everyone. I'm telling you, everyone. Global warming is so real, and they're gone. Oh my god. Actually, what I was gonna do is I was gonna make a review of some videos online. Let me give you the link to the room. But I think I'm going to stop this stream and review something else, or maybe if we have two people here, so I think I'm going to just share with you my screen and we'll do a review. I think I'm going to do a review of Destiny. Let's go see YouTube. Let's watch YouTube. So share this tab. So what do we want to review? I want to review Destiny. Here's Destiny. Shapiro admitted you will never win against a Trump supporter. I don't know if I want to hear that. Is tonight the night Biden drops out? No, that's who is that? That's Ben Shapiro. Sabine Hossenfelder, AI could prove that reality doesn't exist. Physicists say it sounds boring, but let's listen to her.
A group of physicists want to use artificial intelligence to prove that reality doesn't exist. I wish this was a joke, but I'm afraid it's not. It's actually worse. They don't just want to use AI, but also quantum computers. The worst part is that I think they're serious. This one's a little tough to explain. Let's start at the beginning. Or is it the end? Who knows in a reality that doesn't exist? The new paper is a follow-up on an idea that made headlines 2 years ago as a supposed proof that reality doesn't exist. You'd think that if your theory implies that reality doesn't exist, then maybe, just maybe, there's something wrong with your theory and not with reality. But this is how normal people think, not how physicists think. Physicists think this needs to be taken seriously. I made a video back then explaining this mess, but I know you don't want to go and watch the whole thing. So here's a brief summary. In the most common interpretation of quantum mechanics, the outcome of a measurement is not determined. The theory merely makes probabilistic predictions, and it's only once you make a measurement that the outcome actually.
Yeah, when it comes to quantum mechanics, I don't like what they're talking about with the probability. I don't know what they're referring to. I don't know why they say this. I would have to look at specific experiments. When it comes to the double slit experiment, I don't know why you need probability. But anyway, let's continue listening. It doesn't matter.
Has a specific value. Unfortunately, quantum mechanics doesn't tell you exactly exactly what a measurement is. That's part of what's called the measurement problem, and it's the origin of the idea that reality doesn't exist.
I mean, I don't like it when physicists explain or they discuss quantum mechanics. They don't start from first principles. I don't know what they're talking about. They all start from it's a probability. I don't know why they come to this conclusion and how this helps them in any way. So, but they always start from this. Really strange.
The reasonable take on the measurement problem is that there is some good definition for what a measurement is. We just don't know it yet.
I don't know what she's talking about.
A measurement is the interaction with
Why are we talking about measurements?
the device called the detector.
Why is she showing an animation? Why don't they never show actual experiments?
And even though we can't formally write down exactly what a detector is, we know what they do. They make measurements. That's the reasonable take. But the vast majority of physicists do not agree on this. They believe that a measurement is not a physical process. This causes the following problem. First point.
Why? I mean, can you explain their position? What do you mean they believe measurement or whatever? I explain why they say this. Why would anybody say this?
Pointed out by Eugene Wigner, known as Wigner's friend. Imagine you're Eugene Wigner, though he's been dead for 30 years, so maybe don't. Imagine you're
There she goes with her dad jokes. I hate her humor, terrible humor.
the reincarnation of Eugene Wigner. Your friend is
This is a problem with women, I think, making presentations on YouTube. They always have to, for some reason, pretend to be funny, try to be funny. I don't understand it. I mean, you're discussing something relatively important. Why do you need to be funny? How? I mean, if I'm looking to, for something funny, I would go listen to something funny, like there's plenty of comedians, so I would go watch a comedy. Why are you trying? Why are you mixing up comedy into your science? What's the point? Why can't you just be scientific? If you want to do stand up, go do stand up. If I want, open a new channel, stand up channel. If I want, I'll go listen to your stand up. It's fine. I'm not interested in stand up. I don't like stand up. I don't like comedy. I don't like jokes. So stop it.
in a lab where
Like, this topic is so incredibly difficult. Why do you need to make fun of anything? Why it's so irrelevant to make a joke at this point in the discussion.
working with a quantum particle that could appear either left or right on the screen. Before you measure the particle,
Why is she showing animation? Why don't you show us the actual experiment? We're not that dumb. Show us the actual experiment, the actual apparatus, the actual whatever. Show it to us. Make a video of the actual thing. How difficult is it?
it
There's no video on YouTube that actually shows an experiment. It's like, we're not going to show you the experiment because I don't know why. We're not going to show you the experiment. We're not going to, no. We're going to show you an animation because I don't know why. I don't care for an animation. An animation has nothing to do with anything. Don't explain. First, show me the raw data. And then if I have a question, I'll listen to your explanation in which you can show an animation. But don't start from an animation and never discuss the actual experiment.
it is, as we say, in a superposition of left and right. But once your friend measures the particle, she'll find it either left or right, not both.
Okay, I have nothing to do. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is a complete waste of time. I don't know what she's talking about.
It's like Schrodinger's cat, but with less fur.
Schrodinger's cat. If I hear another discussion about Schrodinger's cat, Jesus, it's Schrodinger's cat. Schrodinger's cat. How is what is Schrodinger? Why are you talking? Stop with the examples. With all the examples, just discuss actual experiments. How difficult is it?
and more lab coats. Let's say she finds it left.
Lab coats. Oh, lab coats. She has to make another joke.
You knock at the door and ask what she measured, and she says, well, it was left. So far, so obvious. But if you think the measurement is not a physical process, then you'd say the measurement only happens once she tells you the outcome. And before that, your friend herself was in a superposition, one in which she
Yeah, superposition is ridiculous. That's what Schrodinger was saying. Superposition is ridiculous. The cat being dead and alive is obviously ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. That was Schrodinger's cat. Quantum mechanics, the explanation of superposition is ridiculous.
measured the particle left and
Congratulations. Now you understand Schrodinger. It took you 100 years. Great. You're doing well.
right at the same time. And it's only once she tells you the result that the superposition of her disappears. Physicists have discussed this story of Wigner's friend for like half a century. Then in 2016, they made it more complicated by saying you could use two people in two laboratories with two friends and two particles that are entangled. That's what they call progress in physics.
I don't know what entanglement is, honestly. I've heard 1,000 discussions of an animation and discussions. Show me the experiment, otherwise don't waste my time.
Nowadays, making insane ideas even more insane. Then in 2018, Czeslaw Bruckner proved that if these two people in the laboratories could be in superpositions, which of course they cannot, then all four.
What do you mean they cannot? I mean, you you claim that superposition is part of reality. The two things exist simultaneously that contradict each other as long as you don't measure. That's what you keep teaching. So why can it not be?
People can't agree on the outcome of all experiments. And this is where the headlines come from, that reality doesn't exist. Because if you buy that people can be in superpositions, then you have to conclude that there is no external world that's independent of us. It depends on where we are and who we talk to. In 2019, then, a group from
That's not that there's no reality, that there is superposition in reality. That's not no reality. That's like a completely different proposition.
Edinburgh made an experimental.
What you're saying is, and if people are in superposition, then there is no reality. Well, if that's how you define reality, then in reality there cannot be superposition. Therefore, if there is superposition, there is no reality. Yeah, that's just your definition. But if you define that in reality you can have superposition, then superposition does not contradict reality. It's just a definition. You didn't discover anything.
Test that tested the predictions for this extended Wigner's friend scenario, except that they replaced the friends with photons. Now, you might argue that photons aren't people, and you'd be right.
Oh, she had to make a dad joke. Yeah.
And that finally brings me to the new paper. The authors argue that they can circumvent this photon problem by taking an artificial intelligence that plays the role of the friends in the two laboratories. They say it has to be sufficiently intelligent to plausibly make an observation.
An AI is just a computer program that simulates a neural network, that is a neural network, but it's just a computer program. So it's just input output. What's special about an AI?
So they assume human level artificial intelligence. Then they say we will put.
A human is no different than a simulated neural network in the computer. It's just a neural network. And the human brain is just a machine. It's just neurons firing and activating other neurons. You have input and it's trained on a certain output for a certain input. So for a certain input, you get the output. It's pretty much a deterministic machine. It's just a machine. It's no different than a computer. It's no different than a light switch. No different than a stone that you throw and hit somebody with it. Or a a rock rolling down a hill, or a rock not rolling down a hill. It's just a rock. It's just physics. There's nothing special about an AI or human intelligence.
this AI on a quantum computer. And since it's a quantum computer,
Okay, so it's a quantum computer, which I don't know what that means. I mean, what is a quantum computer? That I don't know what that means.
so the idea the observer can indeed exist in a superposition.
Oh my God. Okay, I mean, if you assume that something can exist in superpositions in both true, false, whatever, then a person can be in superposition, true, existing, not existing. A cat can be. It just depends. Look, you either allow for superposition or you don't. If you believe superposition is possible, it's part of reality, then that ends that discussion. If you believe it's not, then it's the end of that discussion. So just tell us what you believe and we're done. So what do you believe? You always teach superposition. Why do you have a problem with it now?
There are two minor problems with the idea. One is that we don't have human level artificial intelligence.
Why is that important? We have above human level artificial intelligence when it comes to playing chess. It's above human intelligence when it comes to many things. To write an essay summarizing Shakespeare, to write an essay about black hole formation. It's above average, certainly average human intelligence in many fields. In a few fields, maybe to make you coffee, it's still not up to par. Okay, no, okay, fine. So you, this is like God of the gaps. We don't have AGI because of a gap. Why is it even important? Why is human intelligence important? Why an amoeba intelligence is not good enough for you, which is like minimal. It's just a chemical reaction or a physiological reaction. Why do you need human level? Why not monkey level, cat level, cockroach level, mosquito level, or C. elegans worm level? Why do you need human level? What's so special about a human?
And the other one is that we don't have quantum computers remotely large enough to run any AI on them. But the much bigger problem.
I don't know what that means. I mean, I don't know how you would run. I know how to build an AI. That's easy. I don't know what a quantum computer is, so I cannot help you.
Is it doesn't make any sense. First, you don't need intelligence to make a measurement. You just need a detector.
Yeah, you don't need an intelligence to make a detection. You need a detector, correct?
So what do I know? If you think your friends are photons, then maybe you also think fluorescent
Oh my God, she's making dad jokes again.
screens are intelligent. And second, if whatever it is that you use to make the measurement doesn't collapse the superposition, then it wasn't a measurement. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, I think she's referring to the double slit experiment that it because it hits the photon or whatever hits the back the display, it hits it in a distribution of a wave that confuses everyone. And I agree, I don't have an answer to why that happens. No one has an answer as far as I understand. No one can explain the double slit experiment properly. Okay, but no one can explain it. So what's the point? Once no one can explain it, why are we going on talking about it? Let's just figure it out. Until we figure it out, let's just say we don't understand it and we're done. Why are we continuing to build on not understanding it?
Just in case you're still imagining your weakness reincarnation and talking to photons, had you missing the more subtle nuances? I think this is nonsense.
Well, we finally agree. I think this is nonsense. We should not be discussing quantum physics until we figure it out. We should always say we don't understand it, but I don't know why you would even say but. I mean, we should always be trying to figure out quantum physics, and until we have figured it out, we should do nothing else that has to do with quantum physics. We should only try to figure it out, nothing else. Unfortunately, physicists are not, I don't think they're trying. In my opinion, they're not trying. So there you go.
So Why am I telling you this? It's because it highlights a very important point. It's that the larger the quantum systems that we can create, the better we can test which type of configuration does and doesn't destroy superpositions. This means that there have to be certain configurations that you can put on a quantum computer.
But I don't know why I don't know what is this superposition. How is things being true and false simultaneously related to explaining the double slit experiment? I mean, we just need to explain the double slit experiment. We never explained it. For over 100 years, we have not explained it. The idea of superposition, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't explain. I don't know. I don't even know what that is. We have a problem with the double slit experiment. Apparently, and again, I've never seen the apparatus to duplicate the experiment, so I'm just going to go on the animations that everybody keeps showing on YouTube, but no one has reproduced this experiment for some reason, which is why I think physicists are not trying hard enough. Everyone should be replicating the double slit experiment and playing around with it. The very few people that I've seen trying to reproduce it discovered that they don't understand physics. I mean, these are PhDs. There's a girl, I forgot her name. She's like Pakistani or something. I think she's in Britain or Australia. I don't know. And she said that she finished her PhD in quantum physics and then she started teaching it on YouTube. And then she wanted to show something on YouTube. So for that, she started playing around with, I think, a laser. And that's it. It basically broke her brain. She realized that everything she learned in quantum physics was a complete waste of time. And she started experimenting basically for the first time in her life. And congratulations, she's beginning to try and figure out what's going on. But she's apparently, well, maybe one day I'll cover what she did. So, and there was another guy. I think there's two people I've seen on YouTube that have actually tried playing around to reproduce the double slit experiment. The other guy is like an electrical engineer, and he was trying to reproduce it, and it's a complete mess. It has nothing to do with quantum physics. I mean, he actually tried to reproduce it, and as he's trying to reproduce it, nothing makes sense. The whole thing, nothing makes sense. Nothing. He cannot make any sense of all the physics, and nothing fits together. It's a complete mess. Maybe I'll cover it one day.
Which you can't put into a superposition
Say superposition one more time.
more than dead and alive cats.
Oh my God, that's physics today. It's superposition, it's entanglement, it's dead and alive cats, but no one reproduces, God forbid, an experiment. That's too much to ask for. I'm sorry.
And if we figure out just which ones those are, we'll have solved the measurement problem. Oh dear.
Okay, that's this video is. Who watches this video and makes any sense of it? Who walks this earth and actually understands this video? She doesn't understand it. She keeps saying it's nonsense. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. The whole thing is nonsense. So what's the point of the video? 1.3 million, 66,000 views. Who can understand it? No one can understand. You don't understand it. No one understands it. This is a complete waste of time. You're wasting everybody's time. What's the point? Oh my God. Reproducing the double slit experiment. I don't have time for this. I need to get back to work. Wait, am I? Oh, yeah, okay. Let me just make sure my audio is okay. Give me a second. 1 second, checking. Yeah, the audio is okay. The video is okay. All right. So, that's her. That's the video.
How beautiful is this? This is an experiment in quantum mechanics called the double slit experiment, but I really didn't expect to see this when I did it myself. And seeing this changed my mind on an important question in physics. What is light?
But before all that, here's a simple experiment that you can do. All you'll need is a laser pointer and a strand of hair. So if I just take this laser and I shine it at this whiteboard here, you can see that you just get the dot. But what do you reckon will happen if I put this hair in the way?
You might expect the dot to get split into two dots, or for there to be a dark line through the dot, or nothing at all to happen since the hair's so small. But let me show you what actually happens in the dark because it looks really impressive.
Surprising, right? And it's nothing to do with the hair itself. You can do the exact same experiment with anything thin. This is a variation on the double slit experiment, which is an experiment that's so important you learn about it on pretty much day one of any Quantum 101 class. The normal way to do the experiment is to shine a light on two very narrow slits. Then the light that goes through the left or to the right.
This variation is pretty much the same. The light goes through one way or the other. But besides being easier to do this way, the other advantage is the pattern you get. You can see that they both have the same sort of flavor, but they're different. For example, the dashes of light for the hair version are all evenly spaced.
So this has basically nothing to do with the double slit experiment. So the double slit experiment, what's special about it is that they reduced the amount of light that they are transmitting up to the point where they believe that a single photon, whatever that is, went through. It's about belief. It has nothing to do with that. That's why maybe they're not showing the experiment, because they know that you would see it. You would say that has nothing to do with anything. The double slit experiment has nothing to do with what she's describing. The double slit experiment, as long as it's light, you could argue light is a wave, and that's exactly the behavior you would expect from a wave. If it was water, if you would reproduce, instead of using the laser beam, you would use a water beam, you would get this result. Wait, would you? No. I'm sorry. That's a water stream. That's particles. Sorry. So if how would you reproduce? So if you would have like a sound wave, or a wave in water. Anyway, there's different videos where they show that waves, normal waves like sound waves, which they never use sound. I don't know why not. They should use sound, but fine. But if you do water, if you have a water pool and you create a wave and the wave goes through two slits, that's what you see. That's exactly what you would see. You would see the up and down pattern, that at certain points the water is high. Oh my God, I would need to show this to you otherwise. But okay, you're going to have to look it up, because otherwise it's a rabbit hole. We're going to be here for 10 years. So this has nothing. So in the beginning, they did the double slit experiment with light, and they got this result, and they said, well, that settles it. Light is obviously a wave because it behaves like a wave. It creates this distribution pattern that we see in waves. That's the way waves behave. That's fine. But then they reduced the amount of light until they were until a certain point. At that point, they were getting dots appearing every couple of, I don't know, minutes, days. There was a dot appearing. Wait, we have someone with us? Yes, Vince, how are you? Yeah, I'm excuse me?
I'm doing pretty good.
Oh,
How are you doing?
I'm okay. Do you know me?
Yes, I do know you.
Where do you know me from?
Well, you popped into my channel a few times and asked to debate, and I promised that eventually I would hop into yours and repay your kindness.
Okay, my kindness. Okay. So you want to debate?
Yeah, you were very polite. Oh, yeah, sure, why not? What's the topic?
The topic? It could be anything. Do you know anything about the double slit experiment?
The double split experiment. Yes, I do. In physics, right?
Yeah, quantum physics.
We were talking about the same thing? Yes, quantum physics.
So
All right.
Have you reproduced it?
I have never reproduced the double slit experiment. No.
Do you believe in quantum physics?
Parts of it, yes.
Like, what do you believe? What do you believe in quantum physics? Do you believe you'd be able to reproduce the double slit experiment?
No. Me personally, not with what I have available to me.
What do you mean? The original double slit experiment is over 100 years old. You don't need almost anything.
Okay.
Anyway, so what do you want to discuss? What are you an expert at? What can you do? You believe in science? Are you like a leftist, or are you a Trump voter? How do you define yourself politically?
Right. Well, I'd like to say that I do believe in science, but when I say believe, I usually mean what is more likely true than not. I don't describe myself to any political opinions, although I did serve in the United States military.
Hmm,
Uh, I live in the Netherlands now.
wow.
Um,
Why?
but, well, because my wife has a job here.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you served in the military? Like, can you tell me like what force?
Yeah, so I was 1721, which is in the Marine Corps cyber intelligence, specifically defensive cyber intelligence. That's what I was going for, but I was injured, and before the end of my enlistment, I was medically separated with a general under honorable conditions discharge.
Wow. But how
And
could yeah?
Brigadier General Field actually promoted me to Lance Corporal before I left because my promotion was denied by, uh, well, I won't go into that, but
Yeah, you don't have to
needless
say.
to say, I was promoted.
Awesome. Wow. So you like have an amazing pension right now, if I'm not mistaken. You don't?
No.
No,
So
you don't?
I don't have a pension, but I do have VA benefits, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's amazing. So you can work for like cybersecurity firms.
I could try, but with my injuries, it's really difficult to work. I
Really?
dislocated both my shoulders and both my knees, herniated a disc in my back, and I have uh, left Achilles tendonitis, which has mostly cleared up by now, but I'm still going through PT to help with that.
Wait,
So, like, physically moving around is pretty difficult, and I get pretty severe migraines that
wow.
are supposedly caused by my back injury.
Wait,
Um,
did you
Out of
crash?
commission for a while.
Did you crash with a plane?
No. Uh, it was an accident with a few of the people who were in my unit. We were lifting 600 pounds of steel together, and an accident happened where I was crushed.
Whoa. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Oh my god, that's horrible.
I don't claim to be an expert in much, but I try to be conversationalist. So if you'd like to talk to me about just about anything, you know, I might have to do some research on the fly, but I can give you my opinions.
Okay. But would you say that you're an expert at anything? Anything? Is there
No,
no?
I don't qualify as an expert in anything now. I don't have any degrees. I don't have any expertise now.
Would you say that you're more left leaning or right leaning in your politics?
I sway very, very lightly left of center, but I identify as more of a independent.
If you'd had to vote for Trump or Biden, who would you? I mean, you have to vote. So, I mean, you'd have the chance to vote. Who do you plan to vote for?
I have the chance to vote. I'm abstaining this year. I don't plan on voting.
And if you had to vote, if they put a gun to your head, you have to choose one.
If I had to choose one person, I'd probably write in.
No, you have to choose
Well,
Biden or
no, I
Trump.
wouldn't. I have to choose Biden or Trump.
Yeah. They force you to choose
Well,
Biden or Trump. You have to or die. One or the other or die.
that's a really difficult question that I never thought I'd have to answer.
It's okay.
Um,
You're split down the middle between Biden and Trump.
well, I don't want to vote for either of them.
I understand, and it's fine.
I'm voting Biden.
Well, considering I served under Biden, I guess I would have to choose Biden.
Okay, Sage, what did you say?
I feel like the issue necessarily isn't with Trump. I feel like the issue is with his supporters. I feel like honestly that's like the biggest deterrent from voting for Trump.
I'm a Trump.
Because like
I'm a Trump
he-
supporter. What's the problem with me? What did
I think you're stupid.
Why do you think
and like I'm not trying to be mean. I genuinely think if you vote for Trump, after seeing how his what's it called, his cult acts, I think you're being stupid. You're being obtuse. You're putting a
Wow.
lot of things in jeopardy.
Oh, okay.
And no, I'm serious. And I'm not.
That's
I'm not going to
very
try to be
intellectually
bipartisan.
dishonest of you.
No, me?
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you don't think it's weird that that the whole Trump movie led to movements like Moms to Liberty, where they're trying to essentially ban any book that they seem controversial. You don't think that he didn't have an influence on Florida banning certain topics such as race and discrimination and slavery?
What?
To say that that's not like to say that that's not irresponsible. It's like it's oh my god, it's
I'm not
insane.
I'm not following anything.
Saying that it's irresponsible is
Well, oh wait,
fine.
are you even American? Do you live in
I
America?
am American. I
The other one.
moved.
Yeah, I'm American.
Okay, you're American.
Yes.
You don't think it's scary that people are trying to essentially restrict knowledge?
Who's trying to restrict knowledge?
They're banning books.
Who?
Do you think that's normal?
Who is
In
banning?
Florida?
What book are
Moms to Liberty, and they've been pretty successful,
No.
unfortunately.
Wait, I think you mean in public schools.
No, in public libraries. There's a fine in Oklahoma. If you go to a public library in Oklahoma and you complain about a book, they have 24. Well, I mean, they have. I think it's a week
It doesn't.
to remove the book
It doesn't matter.
or be fined. Oh, so you don't think that's important?
Let me
It incentivizes people to report books that they deem inappropriate.
let me say something. So I'm against anything public, like public libraries and public schools.
Okay.
So short of shutting the system down, I don't care what you do with it, honestly. So I'm just
So you're for ending public schools.
and public libraries and anything public. Nothing should be public. Everything should be privatized.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
That's the most stupidest thing I've heard.
that's an argument. So you're welcome to present.
So should poor people not have access to public spaces?
Give me an example. Like, what do you mean?
Libraries. Libraries are a huge resource.
Look, if you
I cannot imagine saying, "Oh, everything needs to be privatized."
I don't think
That
okay, so
I honestly don't think you even understand what you're saying. Honestly, at the moment.
I'm sorry, Mr. Slave. You've been very kind to me today, and I appreciate you talking with me. But I'm gonna head out now.
that's okay, Vince. Seriously,
Okay.
Have
So
a good
where
one.
exactly are you from? I'm detecting an accent with you.
I don't discuss my
No. I think it might give me some insight on why you're so ignorant and stupid. No, I'm just being okay. I'm guessing you're probably from some forgotten, almost so ruled country. I'm gonna say Eastern Europe. Am I close? Am I close?
Let me
I think I'm close.
let me help you.
Tell me.
I belong to a school of thought. In general,
No, sweetie. No, sweetie. You're influenced by your outside world and your past experience. I feel like you have this stupid narrative. Like just the notion of saying everything should be privatized is insane. So just like please let me understand what you are. Where do you come from?
I am trying to explain to you, but
Just say where you come from so I can understand you. It's not a hard
how is
question
it?
to answer.
But the place that I
You
come,
can just say where you originate from. I can tell you're not American by your voice.
but whatever the place that I will tell you,
Just answer the question.
can.
I've argued with people like you before. You're not unique nor intelligent. So just answer the question.
I can't. I don't discuss my place of origin.
No, why? Who? You're not important.
No, it's
You're nobody on the internet. You
no,
can answer the stupid question.
I had problems with the mob.
Oh my God. Oh, yes, I work for the mob.
Not the mob.
Oh, that is the most
Not
stupidest.
not the
With
not
who then?
not the mafia. The mob. The people when they gather together and they come after you. Like if they try to cancel you. You know that like a cancellation.
Okay, first of all, I'm probably one of the most canceled people on earth, but please inform me where you're from.
It's irrelevant. Let me finish a sentence and
It's a country. It's a country. If it's so irrelevant, just say so.
listen. Please let me finish this sentence.
No. The thing is, you are probably from a third world. I'm not going to say third world country. Probably a second world country. I'm going to guess somewhere in Eastern Europe. So you have already an inferior complex. You probably immigrated here, and then your ego just rose, and now you want to essentially speak on a nation you have no real understanding of. Am I hitting it in the ballpark? Am I anywhere close?
No, I love America.
I think I might be. I think I might be correct.
I love
Because if are you ashamed of where you come from?
no.
I think.
I'm a proud.
Well, you probably are a bit ashamed of where you come from,
Not.
seeing that you're probably already identifying as an American.
I identify as an American because I'm an American. What do you want?
You may have an American passport and you may be an American citizen, but you're not really an American. Let's be realistic.
What do you
You
mean
have
by
none of the culture.
what?
Americans more than just having a what's it called a passport. You're not culturally American, and I can tell. So where are you from?
What do you? I'm trying to explain to you two things. One, I cannot discuss where I'm from.
It's a simple
I,
question. You're not that important,
I
and I'm not that special
it's not.
to dox you.
I'm not. Okay, we're right now live on YouTube, so maybe I forgot to mention that.
I don't give two shits about your
But
5
I'm
viewers.
But I no, it's I'm recording. It's gonna be recorded for all eternity. I'm recording for all humanity.
So you're probably a weirdo who records and posts stuff on YouTube that no one's going to watch because you have an ego about yourself that you haven't removed in your late 20s or early 30s.
I'm much older.
You know, the amount of information I'm getting off of you without you even answering a simple question is astounding. You're not unique, sir. There's many people like you. Just tell me where you're from and we can continue the conversation.
I can't.
You're capable. You're probably capable enough to edit it out
No,
if
I
you're
don't.
constantly posting stuff on the internet.
Don't edit. These end up as multi.
Oh, well, that's even sadder.
They end up.
You can't put a little bleep sound
It's a.
to cover you up.
Can I talk for a second? These end up as multi-hour streams. If you ever try to,
Who's gonna watch the stream? Who is realistically gonna watch your stream?
they will come.
Do you have like a
Listen, you gotta let me finish a sentence here and there. I'm not telling you, hey, let me speak and don't interrupt. I'm just saying, once in a while, don't interrupt. I'm not asking for much. Go ahead. What's the question?
okay? You have 150 subscribers. You have 208 videos.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm looking through all your videos.
How do you find me?
And 163 views, 128 views. How, let's be realistic. Do you think all those people finished your videos? Do you even think how?
I don't. That's not the point. The point is that
No, the point is you're inflating your ego and you just don't want to answer a simple question because you know I am right in that question and then I have more authority over you.
trust me, I could tell you I would. I've told people,
Oh my god. Okay, I'm done. I'm not arguing with delusional people.
and they're gone. It's so funny on Discord how people show up, try to become so intimate, and then I'm gone. Poof. And they disappear back into oblivion. This is like a Discord phenomenon. This is the Discord community. Community. All right, so we have two live viewers with us. Let's get back to this nonsense.
Spaced and get lighter as we go. But the dots of the double slit are much more patchy. That's because of something called single slit interference, which is basically a distraction in this scenario. So yeah, I kind of prefer the hair version. Plus, check this out. I'm using this smoke in a can stuff to see the actual beam, but look really closely at the beam. And you can actually see where the hair splits the light into two. How crazy is that? And looking at this, I think it's really hard to understand why you get the crazy double slit pattern when it seems like obviously you should just get a dot with a line through it. So I've done my PhD in quantum stuff, and I thought I understood the theory of this experiment really well. And so my plan was just to explain it to you in a cute little video about how to do the experiment at home. Instead, I got sucked into an odyssey for the last few months where I did all kinds of variations.
For the last few months. This is unbelievable. Someone should do a PhD on her experience. So she finished her PhD in quantum stuff, and she was going to record a video and explain it to us. And she got sucked down a rabbit hole for the past few months. That's the state of quantum physics education. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. Instead of her figuring this out during her PhD, no, she finished her PhD basically, I would say, knowing nothing. She knows nothing about reality. Apparently, she didn't do any experiments for herself. What was she doing there? What was she doing in her quantum physics PhD? Apparently, she has no idea what's going on. No idea. It took her months to figure out what she's doing with a laser beam and a strand of hair and some smoke. This is the conclusion. This is after months. She's speaking now after months of research. Finally, she's beginning to actually study something. And she's realizing that she understands nothing. Let's hear this again. This is incredible. When I heard this, the, the top of my head, I blew a gasket. I was like, Jesus Christ. No one goes through this. She's basically the first person on the planet to go through this. You finished a PhD and you're about to just explain to us. I was going to explain to us with a short video that you know nothing. This is bizarre. This is a PhD in quantum physics. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
With a line through it. So I've done my PhD in quantum stuff, and I thought I understood the theory of this experiment really well. And so my plan was just to explain it to you in a cute little video about how to do the experiment at home. Instead, I got sucked into an odyssey for the last few months where I did all kinds of variations on the experiment, and I ended up like questioning pretty much everything I thought I knew about light.
There you go. I ended up questioning pretty much everything I thought I knew about light. All right, that and look at her face. She's like, ooh. It's like, ugh. She's embarrassed. She's cringing at herself. She's like, It's like, so what am I doing on this earth? What am I doing on this earth? By the way, she's gorgeous. I mean, talk about a beautiful Pakistani girl. Jesus Christ. Absolute gorgeosity. Off the chart. And brilliant. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable.
It turns out this experiment is just way more interesting than I thought. There's always been
Right. So this experiment, it's like I don't know what they do in academia that they get things so wrong. It's like instead of actually sitting down and really doing science, I don't know what they're doing. What are they doing? This academia construct, the academia edifice, this academia industrial complex, it got lost up its own kazoo. I don't know what it's doing. What are they doing? They should basically stop it. Stop the academia. Shut it down. Shut down the industrial scientific complex. Shut it down. It's a complete waste of taxpayer money. Billions and billions of dollars down the drain. Stop it. Go get a job, and in your free time, do experiments or create a YouTube channel and teach us. But teach us through experiments. Don't teach us. I'm gonna make an animation about double slit experiment, and I'm gonna teach you the secrets of the animation universe. No, 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 none of that, none of that. No, no, no more, no more animations. Enough animations. Enough. Enough animations. Show us an experiment and see that you don't understand anything. That's good. That's a good beginning. Now, figure it out. Slowly. Forget about everything. Now, figure it out. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying I did it. But I'm saying I know BS when I see it, and I see BS in the academia. It's complete BS, especially I study neuroscience. When it comes to neuroscience, it's BS. Like everybody's pooping their pants. So I can only assume that quantum physics is complete BS. Everything is complete BS. I don't know what they're doing there. I know when it comes to black holes, everything is BS. I've studied it enough to conclude it's BS. Everybody's is completely lost. I'm not saying I solved anything. I have insights, but I know that everything is off. Everything is off. People are getting paid salaries that are a complete waste of money. All right, let's continue listening to her.
in this debate in physics about whether light is made out of a stream.
Yeah, this debate about wave and particle makes no sense. This debate makes no sense. I don't care about this debate, wave. I don't care. The debate makes no sense. Particle, I can understand. That it's a particle, I can understand. That the motion, it's as if it's part of a wave, I can understand. But to tell me that the particle is a wave, no, the particle is not a wave. The particle is a particle. You're not going to get away from that. I mean, I don't know if the photon. Anyway, let's continue. I don't know what to say.
Of particles, or light is some sort of excitation like a wave. The double slit experiment.
No, excitation is not a wave. The excitation is the particle in the field. The particle is the excitation of the field. You can have waves in the field. No, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't think anybody knows, but fine.
Was meant to definitively prove that light is a wave, except later experiments seem to show that light has particle-like properties as well. I used to hate this whole wave particle thing because light is clearly neither. A great analogy.
Light is what? Clearly what?
Wave particle.
I hate this particle wave duality so much. It's the biggest nonsense in the world.
Thing because light is clearly neither.
No, light is clearly a wave. Light is clearly a wave. In order to show that light is not a wave, that light exhibits particle-like behavior, you have to do some pretty bizarre experiments. The simple experiment with light, you get waves, you get interference patterns. Everything about light is a wave. To show that it's not a wave, those are extreme experiments, not the basic experiment. So light is obviously a wave. So what did she say?
I used to hate this whole wave particle thing because light is clearly neither. A great analogy.
What do you mean it's neither? Obviously it's a wave. Obviously everyone believed light is a wave until they realized that sometimes it's not exactly a wave. It's not exactly like with a photoelectric effect, you could say it looks like light is not a wave. Yeah, I think even Einstein said, yeah, I give up. I don't know what's going on. But in general, light behaves like a wave. In general.
Analogy I heard for it is that light is like a platypus.
Stop with the analogies, please. I'm going to die from the analogies. No more analogies.
It doesn't make sense to say that it's both a duck and a beaver at the same time.
I don't care about your analogies. Show me the experiment. Give me the explanation. Done. No more analogies.
Because it is.
How dumb are we? How dumb? I mean, how dumb? Just show us the experiment.
Is its own thing. But actually doing this experiment finally made me see the value in having good analogies to help you think about light.
Oh my god, I'm going to kill myself.
And in particular, it really sold me on thinking about light in terms of waves. It also made me see how.
Wait, why is it speeding up suddenly? Did I speed it up? Should be. Speed is normal. So why is it speeding up?
Misleading the particle analogy can be if you're not super careful about it. I think many of us imagine photons, which are what physicists now call particles of light, in a similar way to how Newton thought of light particles. But the double slit experiment shows why Newton's particle view is definitely wrong.
Newton imagined light in the same way we now think of water. Inside, it's just made of a stream of light particles in the same way that water is made out of water particles. I'm going to call these particles that Newton thought light was made out of localized particles, because at every point in time, they're just in one spot in space. They're not in multiple places or very spread out or anything like that. If you turn down the laser enough, Newton would have expected that light comes out in these individual particles. Instead, people like Thomas Young imagine light coming out as some sort of wave. In this case, no matter how much you turn down the laser, the light would still be a wave, it would just be less and less wavy. The light travels forward not in lines, but as peaks of a wave progressing forward.
I think Young would say that as the intensity goes down, as you turn off the light slowly, like if it's a candle, as the candle moves away, let's say it's a candle in a dark, very dark room, very, very dark room inside a very dark house. It's completely dark. You have a candle. As the candle moves away, so the intensity of the light that hits some sort of material that reacts to the light, so you're getting less and less of a reaction as the light source moves away, as the candle moves away further and further and further. I think they did the original double slit experiment in a tunnel, in a dark tunnel. So they were able to move the candle away further and further and further and further until they could barely see the candle. And at that time, the panel that was reacting to the light was reacting with tiny dots every once in a while. So every couple of, let's say, hours, another dot appeared on this panel, on this reacting panel. So then they said, oh, this must be a photon. So I think this is what went through their minds. But I don't know if this might even be before Einstein discovered the photon. This is before he explained the photoelectric effect. So I don't know what, I think the double slit experiment was conducted before then. So they didn't even know what a photon is. But anyway, whatever, let's continue.
In the case of just turning on a flashlight, both Newton's picture and Thomas Young's wave picture make exactly the same predictions. But Newton's view just feels bright. Like you have these particles just traveling in straight lines, which is so much simpler than this strange abstract wave thing, which is why it's so tempting to think.
What do you mean straight lines? You have a candle, the light goes out in all directions. The reason why a flashlight, the light goes in a certain direction is because of a parabolic mirror that is built into the flashlight that focuses all the light in one direction. And a laser is a little bit different, but it doesn't go in one direction. It goes in every direction. Every source of light, the light goes in all directions. The laser is the anomaly. So in general, light goes in all directions like a wave, right? A wave, if you have a pool and the water or a lake and it's completely calm, so the water bed or the water level is completely flat like a mirror, and then you drop a tiny pebble at the center of the lake, you get a wave, you get a circular wave pattern coming out in all directions simultaneously. That's basically how waves behave. So the same goes for light. So whatever is the source of light, it goes in all directions. So light is supposed to be a vibration in the electromagnetic field. So a vibration can only be up and down, or it has to have a direction. Like an Anyway, this is too deep to talk about. I'd have to show you an animation in order to explain my theory of what light is. But let's continue.
Think of light this way. In fact, I've seen pictures just like this one to illustrate photons exiting a light source in many reputable textbooks. And I get why. That's kind of how I imagine photons too. So, how did Thomas Young go about disproving it? He needed to find an experiment that could only be explained with waves and not with Newton's particles. Well, one unique thing that waves do is that they bend and spread out. You may have seen this before, but for me at least, it was kind of surprising.
Let me show you with this high-tech ripple tank I made here. You can see that when I bob this plastic in the water, it makes fairly straight waves. But what do you expect will happen when I put this obstruction in the way? I would have guessed that the bit of the wave that makes it pass just goes straight ahead, and that's what the majority of the wave does do, but the rest of it bends and spreads out. You can see that in action here. But why does it happen? I don't really know. I would love to understand it better and make a video about it, but until then, you can see that this is something waves actually.
What do you mean you don't know? You don't. So she studied quantum mechanics, but she never studied how wave mechanics, like surface water waves. That's terrible, because you can read about it in minutes. You don't need to take courses or degrees. It's actually fascinating how water waves work. It's not simple, but any wave, I mean, you need to actually, like either think about it or read about it or take a course or whatever. But it's very sad that she didn't look into it, but fine.
Do. They spread out when they meet an obstacle.
That definitely feels a lot different from how I'd expect particles to behave. So why don't we do a similar experiment with light and see what happens? Will light bend and spread out, or will it go straight? I'm going to use a piece of paper as the obstruction to find out. And there you go. The laser light does actually spread out. Case closed. Light is a wave, right? Well,
why is she using a laser? She doesn't even explain what a laser beam is. Why not use light, like a candle, like the simplest light, or a flashlight, or even like close the room and just open a tiny slit so you get just a little bit of light coming in from the sun? I mean, Why are you using a laser of all things, and you're not even explaining what a laser is? What's the point? At least explain what a laser is.
Maybe we should give Newton a chance to rebut this. I guess he could try and explain this with particles. Perhaps the particles are colliding into the paper and then ricocheting, and that's why they spread out like this. Okay, fine. Maybe you
That's a good animation.
can explain that. But there is another wave phenomenon that particles definitely can't mimic, and that's cancelling out.
One way to think of the last experiment is that it's like we took the hair experiment and then just blocked one path.
We found that at least some of the light ends up in all of these places, including in this spot. If we had blocked the right path instead, we'd have gotten a very similar result. And again, notice that at least some of the light falls on this spot. Now let's open both paths simultaneously, and the light just disappears from this spot. There is no way for Newton to explain this. Think about it. If you believe in the kind of particles that Newton did, then when just the left path is open, some of your particles will reach the particle. There is no way. And the light just spot similar result. This spot found that at least some of the light ends up in all of these places, including
Experiment is that it's like we took the hair experiment and then just blocked one path.
We found that at least some of the light ends up in all of these places, including in this spot. If we had blocked the right path instead, we'd have gotten a very similar result. And again, notice that at least some of the light falls on this spot. Now let's open both paths simultaneously, and the light just disappears from this spot. There is no way for Newton to explain this. Think about it. If you believe in the kind of particles that Newton did, for Newton, the light just spot a very thing in this. We found that at least some of the light ends up in all of these places, including in this spot. If we had blocked the right path instead, we'd have gotten a very similar result. And again,
I mean, it's pretty symmetric. What she's showing is the light is spreading both to the right and to the left. The question is, would this happen to particles as well? Let's go back a little bit more. I'm not sure I'm getting the context.
Explain that. But there is another wave phenomenon that particles definitely can't mimic, and that's cancelling out.
One way to think of the last experiment is that it's like we took the hair experiment and then just blocked one path.
We found that at least some of the light ends up in all of these places.
This is with the hair and a piece of paper. I think she always has the hair strand vertically there in the center. And now there's a piece of paper on the right side.
That particles definitely can't mimic, and that's cancelling out.
One way to think of the last experiment is that it's like we took the hair experiment and then just blocked one path.
We found that at least
she's blocking the left side. In the animation, she's blocking the right side. Now she's blocking the left side.
Some of the light ends up in all of these.
And then, okay, it's spreading more to the left than to the right, which is what we'd expect from a wave. This is mimicking the behavior of a wave.
Places, including in this spot. If we had blocked the right path instead, we'd have gotten a very...
The question is, you still need to work out the wave mechanics. You have to understand how waves work. And you have to come up with a theory that as light is a wave, this is what you'd expect. And you need to be able to create a computer simulation that predicts, or that the simulation needs to simulate something, and then you need to run an experiment and show that your experiment is predicted by your computer simulation. And the computer simulation needs to make certain assumptions, and you need to build in certain mechanics. And you need to be able to do the same with water waves. I would start with maybe water waves. Light, but she's using a laser. So laser is a very specialized form of light. I would work with a candle. I think a candle is better. It's much simpler. Okay.
Very similar result. And again, notice that at least some of the light falls on this spot. Now let's open both paths.
But now the paper is on the right. Before the paper was on the left. This is so confusing. This is so confusing. There's no protocol. It's like it's on the right, it's on the left, it's anywhere you want. In the diagram, it's on the right, then she puts it on the left. Now it's on the right. When did you switch it? What's going on here? Right? Am I crazy? It's on the right, it's on the left. And she never said that I'm switching sides, but she switched sides. So when she shows us the result, this result is from what side? From the right or from the left? We don't know. We don't have the raw data. We have only, she didn't video everything. Maybe she did. We need to see all the videos, not just what she edited.
All of these places, including in this.
And this is the only experiment on YouTube trying to reproduce anything close to the double slit experiment. That's it. There's nothing else. I mean, there's another guy. Maybe we'll see him after.
Spot. If we had blocked the right path instead.
Oh, she mentioned that now she's blocking the right path. Okay.
We'd have gotten a very similar result. And
I don't see the difference. This looks identical to when she blocked the left side.
And again, notice that at least right path in playing out.
One way to think of the last experiment is that it's like we took the hair experiment and then just blocked one path.
We found that at least some of the light ends up in all of these places.
What do you mean all of these places? What a waste of time.
Including in this spot. If we had blocked the right path instead, we'd have gotten a very similar result. And again,
I don't see the difference.
Notice that at least some of the light falls on this spot. Now let's open both paths simultaneously, and the light just disappears from this spot. There is no way for Newton to explain this.
So that's a good point. That's a good point. But we don't know what a laser beam is. That's not light. A laser beam is not the light that Newton had available. Newton didn't know that laser beams are even possible. So the question is, what would happen? Would Newton be able to reproduce this experiment if he shone light on a strand of hair? Would he be able to see that point that has no light shining on it? Would he be able to get this pattern of yes, no, yes, no, yes, no on the board where the light is shining? So we don't know. So she doesn't show it. She didn't go through that. She's using a laser. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what a laser is. You don't know how water waves, surface water waves, you don't know how they behave. So you need to first explain water waves, then you need to be able to explain light waves, how they're produced, how they're created. You need to explain the propagation of light as a wave through the electromagnetic field. You have to explain the electromagnetic field. You have to explain electricity and magnetism. There's so much to explain. You need to build a complete model. And this is stuff that we know. It's not like we don't know any of this. This is known. As far as I'm concerned, this is known. I don't know whoever discusses this on YouTube. This much I never looked for, but you need to look it up. You need to go step by step. Just running an experiment after experiment for months, running experiments, that's lazy. You need to run an experiment, but I would say you need to study what we do know about electromagnetic theory, electromagnetic wave theory. And if you don't understand it, that's what you need to research. If there's no research, then you need to research. But you got to go step by step. You have to have a theory. You have to have a model. You can't just run amok like a chicken without its head. You got to be systematic. You can't work like this. This is ridiculous. This is not science. This is nonsense.
Think about it. If you believe in the kind of particles that Newton did,
I don't know where you're going. I don't know where you're coming from. You're a complete mess. You have to be more systematic. You have to slow down, and further slow down. You have to build in your mind a complete model of what light as a wave is. You have to have that as a first step. And once you have that, either mathematically or geometrically or with a computer simulation, you have to make predictions. And then you have to test those predictions in the real world. So you have to know that your theory is correct. So now you have a validated theory, you have a validated model of light as a wave. That's the first step. Once you've done that, I would forget about the laser. I wouldn't go into the universe of the laser. Why are you using a laser? I don't know. What is that? What is a laser? What is that? Do you know what it is? You don't even know what a water wave is. Why are you using a laser of all things in the world? You're missing sources of light that you can run experiments with? You don't know what you're experimenting with. You need to know something. You need to fix some of the variables. You can't have all the variables completely free and run around. What? You need to lock down all the variables down to the last one. Make sure all your predictions are 100% correct. So you know you have a good model. You have a good theory. Good. Now you let go of one variable that you want to experiment with. And now you try to, if you're getting a surprising result, okay, you go back to the model and you try and play around with the model and see if you can fix the model so that it will predict this new phenomenon with a single parameter that you modified. And you see that your model is able to correctly predict this behavior that you're experiencing with a single free parameter. Otherwise, you're completely wasting everybody's time, including your own. So not only did you not study this in your PhD, but you didn't even study science. You didn't study engineering. You didn't study anything that has to do with the universe. Who taught you? They should have their license revoked. What did they teach you? You don't know how to conduct an experiment. You don't know how to run. How do you live your life? How do you live life like this? I don't know how surface water waves work. Maybe somebody can explain to me in the comments. My God. Why don't you take the time to figure that out? Then sound waves, think about it, figure that out. I'm not saying it's going to take you a PhD, but you can take some time to figure things out. Go ask. You're in a physics faculty. You're part of the physics faculty. So you can talk to the physicists that maybe have done this research. Maybe you have access to books, libraries, who knows? You have Google, you can Google it, you have YouTube, you at least complain that the information is not available. And then say that we're making no progress. Obviously, we can make no progress. There's too many unknowns. We can't make any progress like this. We need to figure more things out before we can jump all the way to the end of the universe, to quantum physics that's confusing everyone. Quantum physics is not confusing anyone. Everything is confusing everyone because no one is doing any science. And of course, I'm talking to myself, but it's good. Maybe somebody at the end of time will hear me. Maybe Looking Glass Universe will hear me. Maybe she'll hear what I have to say.
Then when just the left path is open, some of your particles will reach that spot. And when the right path is open, some of your particles will reach that spot. But when both of them are open, it's like the particles from the right side and the particles from the left side just happen to cancel each other out in this spot, which just doesn't make sense. But why not? Why can't you just have the particles cancel? Well, because in this spot, they need to cancel. But just a little bit over, the particles coming from the left and from the right should happily coincide. It's like they sometimes choose to cancel and sometimes they choose not to. So I'm sorry, Newton, but particles like yours really aren't good enough to explain how you could ever get canceling. But then, how do waves manage to explain the double slit experiment?
Let's imagine a wave is coming out of the laser. On the right side, the wave encounters the hair, and because it's an obstacle, it bends and it spreads out like we discussed before. On the other side, the exact same thing happens. Back in our wave pool, the black obstruction in the middle now represents the hair. And as you can see, the waves on either side do spread out and they overlap. But something very surprising is happening in that overlap, and you can't really make it out in this precision setup, but it's going to be a lot more clear in the animation.
That's so funny that she said precision. That's so funny. Why did she do this at home? Why can't you go to your physics lab and do the experiment there? I mean, it's a year ago. COVID was finished. It probably wouldn't be in the physics lab. You could probably go to the engineering. They have where they teach hydraulics and stuff like that. Maybe they have a lab.
Where are all these lines coming from? To understand what's going on, imagine you're on a boat in this spot.
Then the wave coming from the left will have its peak reach you at exactly the same time as the wave coming from the right. Together, they tend to push you up even higher. The troughs also meet you at the same time, so this spot is just really choppy. But if we instead move our boat to here, then the peak of the right wave hits exactly when the trough of the left wave hits you. The peak tries to move you upward, while the trough tries to pull you down. And so in the end, they cancel out and the boat doesn't really move up or down. So this spot is surprisingly calm. There are these choppy and calm spots all over, and if you map them out, then you get these lines. What's this got to do with the double slit experiment? Well, look at the waves across the wall. You have these alternating parts of choppiness and calmness. That lines up suspiciously well with the pattern of the double slit, where you have alternating spots of light and dark. Thomas Young's hypothesis was, when there's this waving, there's light. And when the waves cancel out, and so there's no waving, there is no light. In other words, the amount of light produced in a spot is proportional to the amount of waving. You know, I've given this explanation to students for years, but I've never taken the whole wave picture very seriously. Like, yes, I knew that to make the right prediction for the double slit, you would have to use waves in your calculation. But I thought they were just that, like just calculation tools. I didn't think that they were real. I mean, like literally in quantum mechanics, the waves are complex valued. So instead in my head, I thought of the light as a particle when it exited the laser, and then a particle again when it got measured at the wall. But in between, it just seemed like there's nothing you could really say about the light besides a bunch of equations. But this next experiment is what changed my mind and made me finally feel that the waves are actually real.
Yeah, light is a wave. Everyone told you light is a wave since the beginning of time. It's only very specific experiments that confuse us. In general, light behaves like a wave. There's nothing new about that. The fact that this is terrible. What you're telling us is this is the state of academia, that you're teaching people nonsense, basically. So if you believe it's a particle, it's a complex function, what the heck are you talking about? It's a wave. It's a physical wave. But you don't know what a physical wave is. You don't know. You don't know how surface water waves behave. The mechanics, you don't know the mechanics of the molecules of the water. You never took the few minutes to study this. It's literally in a few seconds. You can at least get a general idea of what's going on. I'm sure you can study this forever, but you can certainly build a computer simulation, and then you would get a better feel for how they behave and other way. I mean, surface waves are actually pretty complicated. Sound waves are, I think, much simpler. And sound waves. So the question is, so light as a vibration, propagation of energy through the electromagnetic field, what would I compare it to? I think I would actually compare it more. Okay, anyway, I'm not gonna go there now. But I've done I sat down and I thought enough to get a good feel for both the electro as well as the magnetic parts of the propagation of the energy called light or electromagnetic waves. So I have a good feel for what's going on mechanically, and the same for sound, and the same pretty much for surface water waves. But the fact that you didn't, that's really terrible. That is very sad. Let's continue.
So I've been playing with this for a while and I haven't been able to get this thought out of my mind. There's a beam here.
And I think that she never made a video. Did she ever make a video after this? Let me check. Let me open this in a separate thingy, separate tab. 11 days ago. So she's still making. So she's still making videos. Let me see videos. 11 days ago, 2 weeks ago. Built a GPT model in 10 hours. That's pretty good. What AlphaFold AI Alpha? What is a photon? So she's continuing. This is from 4 months ago. So she's continuing. She's not relenting. Useful quantum computer. What can my homemade quantum computer do? Yeah, I saw this video. Quantum computer. This, I don't know why light slows down in water. I didn't believe that light slows down in water. Okay, not bad. Bad at math, yeah. I mean, she made some really good videos. I really enjoy some of her content. But this blew my mind. This video that we're watching now completely blew my mind. Okay, let's continue.
That leads to this middle dot. That's clearly where the light for that dot is coming from, right? But what about all these other dots? Like, surely that light is coming from somewhere as well.
What are we seeing here? So she placed her camera to the left of the laser beam, and she's using smoke to see the laser beam. So this is the laser beam, and it's hitting right here, but it's going through the strand of hair. So the strand of hair is causing these wave patterns to the left and to the right, and she gave a good explanation for this distribution of wave patterns. So I think her explanation was pretty good. So what's the question now?
Well, and it feels like you can almost trace back exactly where that light's from. For this one, if I follow it,
I can.
This is incredible. This is absolutely incredible. Someone is finally, slowly thinking. This is basically what science was like before the maybe World War II, maybe. Like science was always a gentleman, the gentlemen and the ladies at home that were self-sufficient financially. They sat at home and they specialized each. That's what they were doing. They created the maths that they did in order to explain these phenomena. But they were running these experiments at home. They were slowly thinking about things. They didn't have any academic pressure to write a paper. They didn't depend on anyone. So they were independent. And this is very important for objectivity, which is very important for the scientific method. So what we have today is a very corrupted science because the scientists cannot just sit at home at their own leisure and figure things out. What we have is pressure to publish, the pressure to publish. And then you get nonsense and you get noise and everything gets lost in all the noise. And it's not, it certainly is not as objective as it used to be. So I don't know. I think, I mean, I'm not the first one to suggest that science is corrupted, has become corrupted by government because scientists are not independent, and scientists dare become independent are punished by the complex, by the scientific complex, by the government, by the politicians, by the system. Anyway, so yeah, so she's tracing. She could put a camera at this point. The camera would see no light, and she would move with the camera towards the hair strand. And at one point, the camera, the camera's aperture is going to be right at the hair strand, and it's still not going to see any light coming from the laser. It's going to be, yeah, but we have a good explanation.
Go all the way back. And same for these as well.
So it feels like there should be beams kind of coming out here.
I got obsessed with this idea that you should be able to see these beams of light if you just use the right method. I tried everything.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you should see these beams, and you notice them on your finger as you were moving towards the hair, but the intensity of these beams is orders of magnitude less than the laser beam. Obviously, the laser beam would burn your eye, whereas these lateral beams would. So it's orders of magnitude difference in intensity. So maybe if you used much more smoke, you would see those beams. But those beams, are they laser? Are they laser beams? Yeah, I think they are still laser beams, whatever that is. Let's continue.
Like doing the experiment at midnight for maximum contrast and then filling a box with smoke. Then I tried filling a tub with water vapor. I even tried submerging my laser into agar. Nothing. In the end, I caved and I bought a smoke machine from a DJ shop. And I also decided to use the proper double slit so that the little bands are more intense. And it worked.
I would love if you actually tried this experiment yourself because it's so easy to do. But I need to warn you about something. Laser pointers are way less safe than you probably think. I bought a bunch of lasers from Amazon that all claim to be under 5 milliwatts. Anything over that limit can permanently burn a hole in your retina. So let's compare these cheap lasers with a proper 5 milliwatt laser to see if they're safe. As you can see, this green one is definitely not okay. In general, green lasers are something I really don't recommend you buy from Amazon. Red laser pointers are better in my experience, especially little ones like this that are advertised as like keychains or cat toys, rather than like this type. But yeah, if you're going to be using a laser for presenting or experiments or playing with your cat, just make sure it isn't one that's going to burn someone's eyes out.
Anyway, it was worth buying the smoke machine. This experiment looks just magical in real life, and all I've done to capture it is use my phone, nothing fancy. I set the double slit up a few meters away and blocked all the lights and turned on the smoke machine, and all of these beams suddenly became visible. Here you can see that there are beams of light going to all of the dots of the double slit pattern, But to see it even more clearly, let's turn around and look toward the laser. And now, so many beams become visible. The double slit doesn't split the light up into two beams. It splits the light into many, many beams.
So why was this experiment such a revelation
This is not the double slit. Okay, whatever.
for me? Well, it felt like I was actually seeing the light be a wave for the first time.
Let me show you what I mean.
This is incredible. Why would you say that? There's so many experiments you can conduct with sunlight to show that it's a wave. You don't need a laser beam. What are you talking about? You can see diffraction, refraction. You can see all sorts of wave patterns with sunlight. Why do you need a laser? What are you talking about? You don't need anything to show that light is a wave. But you need to go way out of your way to show that light is a particle. This is so ridiculous. And this comes up again and again in these YouTube creators. We built this apparatus and this and this and this, and we showed light is a wave. Oh my God, light is a wave, everyone. Light is a wave. Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? Of course, light is a wave. No one questions that light is a wave. The question is light also displaying the qualities of a particle? That's the question. Show me that. That's actually very difficult to show. But that it's a wave, that's obvious. You don't need a laser, you don't need a slit, you don't need hair, you don't need dark, you don't need anything. You could just, for example, look at the sunlight hitting leaves. Look at the floor. Look at the ground, and you can see diffraction and refraction patterns. Whatever, I don't forget which is which. You can see the patterns. Those are that only waves create these patterns. That's all you need. And you can probably figure out the wavelength and the frequency of the light from sunlight and leaves and stuff like that outside or even indoors.
I mean with this laser. Here you can see the narrow beam of the laser, but if I put this paper in the way, a wave should spread out. And yeah, that's exactly what the laser does. But to see it more clearly, let's add some smoke.
A wave should spread out. Particles should spread out. When I water my lawn, water comes out of the hose and I just press on it and it spreads. Spreading is not unique to waves. That's also true for particles. So that's not true what you just said. That's not unique to waves.
This looks almost unreal. The laser beam is spread out, but only in this one plane, just like we'd predict for a wave. If I remove the paper and put in the double...
That's nothing to do with the wave. This happens with a water hose just as much. So I don't know why you're excited about it.
Slit instead, you can see the two sides of the beam interfere and cancel out. Slit and stain. Just unreal. The laser beam is spread out, but only in this one plane, just like...
I don't know what she's talking about. I don't know what the laser beam is spread out. I don't know. I don't see anything this special in this image. I don't see anything special. What do you mean spread out only in one dimension? I don't know what you're talking about.
Like we'd predict for a wave.
Wait, let me check if there's one person watching. Oh, we have a comment? No comments.
If I remove the paper and put in the double slit instead, you can see the two...
Oh, she bought the double slit. Okay.
Sides of the beam interfere and cancel out. Again, just like a wave should.
Yeah, that's wavy. Unlike the spreading. Spreading is useless. Everything, beams of particles spread just as well. So that's not, that doesn't prove anything.
Seeing this was the first time that I actually felt in my gut that light is somehow wave-like.
How can you say that? Light is a wave, period. It's apparent from your daily activities.
Up until now, I just thought that the waves of quantum mechanics were abstract.
The waves of quantum mechanics have nothing to do with this discussion. I don't know what they are. Let them go. They have nothing to do. I don't know why you would even bring them up. The waves of quantum mechanics is the way to predict where the particle ends up. It's a prediction mechanism. Those are not waves. Those are waves of probability. Those are not waves. Oh my God. It's just because Heisenberg, he said, I don't remember why, that I think maybe from the double slit experiment, he said, well, obviously light is a particle because Einstein proved it. And light spreads like a wave. Obviously, we see it from any experiment we run with light, and we see that it behaves like a wave. So it's both it seems like a particle from Einstein's photoelectric effect, and it's a wave. We see that from light mostly behaves like a wave. So it's both. But in the double slit experiment, we then see that the particles spread like a wave. So the particles must travel, or their location must be predicted in a wave-like pattern. Their location, the location of the particle, the probability of where we would find a particle, that probability, the distribution of the probability looks like a wave. That's the wave function. That's Heisenberg's wave function. It's just the distribution probability of the location of where we would find the particle. That's it. You don't. This has nothing. So it's just we don't know. I would say there's no theoretical, right? The what's his name? The Heisenberg. Wait, Heisenberg is the uncertainty principle. Who made the function? The wave function is not Heisenberg. It's the other guy with the German name. Who created the wave function? Not Heisenberg. Wave function. Who made the wave function? Who made the wave function? Wave function in quantum mechanics. So, well, I can show you this. Can I? I think so. So, wave function, according to superposition principle quantum mechanics. Yeah, but who created the wave function? Who came up with the wave function? Let's go to Wikipedia. Why is it so hot here? Wave function, mathematical description, quantum isolate quantum, the most common symbol, blah blah blah. Who came up with the wave function? What was his name? Max Planck, yeah. Okay, de Broglie. Okay, Schrödinger. So Schrödinger came up with the wave function as a predictor, as the behavior of the motion, the behavior of the location of quantum particles. But there's no theory. There is no theory why they move. Why their location is such that it follows a wave function. Why should the location of a particle be related to a wave function? Usually particles move in straight lines. They don't move in wave-like fashions. There is no theory. So Schrödinger didn't come up with a theory. Schrodinger just came up with an equation because of intuition. I think it was because of de Broglie. So de Broglie, this guy, de Broglie suggested that all particles are both, that all particles are also wavy, whatever that means. Also, no theory, just intuition, just no theory, no model. We don't have a quantum model. We don't have a quantum theory. We just have ideas that are all separate, but there is no, we don't have a model. We cannot imagine, or no one has yet properly imagined quantum world as to be able to describe all the experiments that we conduct in the quantum realm. Yeah, let's continue.
And they're not. They're actually there, and you can see pretty clear evidence.
Nothing. These things have nothing to do with each other. I guess she became confused. Yeah, I guess these are. I mean, I think you can, from the double slit experiment, you should be able to produce Schrodinger's wave function. So Schrodinger's wave function can predict the double slit experiment. So Schrodinger's wave function can predict, should be able to predict, of course, the double slit experiment, the wave pattern distribution of the light, of the laser that we see. But we are also able to predict it based on simple wave mechanics. If we just assume that the laser beam is a wave internally, we should be able to predict. I mean, we know the speed of light, and we know, I mean, how would we be able to do that? How would we be able to do that? I mean, can we do that? Can we predict? Based, if I give you a light source and I give you the dimensions of the double slit experiment, just as light, just as light, as just from wave mechanics, just from the wave theory, well, you would have to know the wavelengths of the light. If you know the wave, so if you know the speed of light, and you know the wavelengths, how would you know the wavelengths? I mean, how would you know the wavelengths? How would you know the wavelengths of light? I mean, the only way to know the wavelength of the light is from something like the double slit experiment. Is there another way to know that light has a wavelength or a frequency? How did they know the wavelength of light of a certain color before Einstein came up with the theory of photons to explain light? So before that, they thought light is purely a wave. So, and before that, I mean, they knew that light. That's a good question, but it's very strange. It's not very strange, but it's absolutely remarkable that she says, I was teaching this. She was teaching quantum mechanics, I guess, to undergrads or maybe even to grads. And she was thinking about the wave function as the cause of the waves, but she didn't think you would see the wave, but she knew you see the wave. You see, it's not waves. You're not seeing waves. Hold on. You're not seeing waves. You're seeing a wave-like distribution pattern. That's not waves. The distribution pattern, that's Schrodinger's, not Schrodinger. Schrodinger? Is it Schrodinger or Heisenberg? Schrodinger's cat and Schrodinger's wave equation. Okay. Anyway, let's continue.
Of them. And so since then, I've started taking the whole wave picture much more seriously. On the other hand, I've become.
But the waves, hold on. This is the waves. You don't need this complex apparatus to prove that light is a wave. You can show, let me try and find showing that light is a wave with sunlight. Let me see if we have that. Can I share this? It looks like I can share it. All right, so maybe images. Oh, there's no normal images. There's no images. Why is there no images of light behaving like a wave? Oops. So maybe let's use Google, but I don't want to show you my screen, so hold on. Share this. Let's go to here. I just want to make sure that I'm not showing you anything personal. All right, Google, all, and Google. Yeah, I was afraid of this. And yeah. Oh, terrible. Absolutely terrible. I'm not gonna be able to show you this. Let me look it up myself. So, light as a wave. Let's look up images. Yeah, everything is just animations and diagrams, or it's all the same diagram. No one has pictures. Okay, let's just look up sunlight diffraction in leaves. Sunlight diffraction in tree leaves. Can we see sunlight diffraction in tree leaves? I want to see the shadow. Sometimes in the shadow you can see the diffraction pattern. Light shadow. Okay, we need light shadow. So sunlight diffraction in tree leaves shadow. Branches shadow on sun crescent. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I never actually noticed diffraction. I'm imagining things. Maybe I need to conduct this experiment myself. No one has a diffraction pattern picture. Why is that? There's no diffraction pattern. That's weird. Let me show you. Can I show you? Or is it dangerous? Am I endangering myself if I show you this tab? I think it's fine. So, I mean, these are weird enough. I mean, that's one thing I noticed, that you see basically the sun between the leaves. You don't see. Wait, we have a. Hello.
Warming. What can we do about global warming?
Well, do you believe in global warming?
Yeah, I believe in global warming.
What's your evidence?
It's mostly about
What?
My evidence is Earth.
Your evidence is Earth?
Yeah, Earth is my evidence.
Well, Earth is evidence for Earth. What do you mean? We need.
Earth is evidence for everything.
Okay, but you have to be more specific. I mean, what do you mean Earth? Ort. Ort.
So, just so basically, statistically, it has been proven by scientific research that the Earth has risen in 60% or 75% in heat, and that the Earth is slowly warming up. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand, but what's your evidence? What's their evidence? I mean, how do you know that
Evidence,
they're lying?
the amount of the amount of CO2 emission released into the air. That's the evidence.
But what's your evidence that the
Because
Earth is warming?
Antarctica.
Okay, what about Antarctica?
So due to global warming, the Antarctic, South Pole, North Pole, the glaciers are melting,
Okay,
which we know that normally there was no global warming. They
okay,
would not have melted
okay,
at such a fast amount of pace.
okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So if
And that due to global warming, at the rate we're going, yearly is increasing. From 1960, there wasn't that much of melting glaciers in the North and South Pole, but now it has been rapidly increases, and the scientists have been keeping a close eye on the North and South Pole, and they see that it's melting faster than it could,
okay, so
and that is the proof.
what's the proof? If I want you to prove to me right now that the globe is warming, can you do it or can you not do it?
Can I do it?
Yeah.
Obviously.
How?
Well, we have to have a basis fundamental. Do you take scientific research as evidence? What do you take as evidence?
I'll take evidence, anything. Present to me the evidence and I'll scrutinize it and I'll cross examine it and either I'll demonstrate that it's true or false and we'll go from there. Present
Okay,
your present your evidence.
sure. Let me just find you a authentic scientific research on the Antarctic.
What are you going to show me? Maybe I agree with you, so you don't need to show me.
That climate change is global warming.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
a real thing.
What do you mean? So what's your evidence? Just tell me what you're looking for.
I'm gonna bring you a scientific
No, but
research, a study case.
what are you looking for? Maybe I agree with you. I'll save you time. What is the evidence you're going to present me?
The amount of global CO2
What is the
emission released in
evidence?
the air.
What's the evidence that the globe is warming? What are you going to present me as evidence that the globe is warming?
Motherfucker, if you listen, I said I was going to bring you a scientific research with statistics and analysis on the world.
I don't need that. I need
A survey from a scientific study from 1950s compared to the 2024. That is evidence.
But what? Can you
But
prove?
in what? In global warming.
So what are you going to show me? What are you going to?
Listen.
Yeah.
What are you looking for? Because I'm telling you, my evidence is a 1950 study case compared to a 2024, showing the increase in global warming and how the glaciers, North and South Pole, that their rates of melting, because we know that for something to melt at a quicker pace is due to Earth heating up,
That's
right?
good.
Far, right?
But you agree?
And I,
Yeah, fine. That's fine. So you don't need to look it up. So I
yeah,
can grant you that the ice caps are melting. But if the ice caps are melting, then you have to agree that sea levels should rise, right?
And sea levels are rising.
Okay, so great. So if the sea levels are rising, then they should have risen by a little bit by now, right?
And it has, yeah.
And it has.
You see some countries under the water, such as Fiji,
Fantastic.
Bangladesh is
Fantastic.
also being flooded.
Fantastic. But a few countries underwater, that's fine. But I want to see, on average, all the beaches. All the beaches on the planet should have moved inland. You have to agree that, in general, statistically speaking, all the beaches, with minor exceptions, but all the beaches should have moved inland. You have to grant me that, right?
Oh, so you want countries that the beaches have been like slowly eroding away?
I want all the beaches, not countries, all the beaches, with minor exception, all the beaches should have moved inland, with minor exceptions. You have to grant me that.
You realize,
What?
realize some countries
No,
are
not some.
raised above higher than other countries.
That's, I'm not, I said all the beaches, with minor exceptions, should have
Okay.
should have moved inland. You have to grant me that, right?
Okay.
Yes or no?
Okay, I'll find you.
No. Yeah, you have to grant me. Don't look it up. You have to grant me a prediction of your theory that if we have global warming, if global
I
warming,
agree.
oh,
I don't know how, because if I say, I agree with it, and then
oh,
you're just gonna start rambling about what's your evidence.
I didn't understand what you said. So you agree, and then what did you say?
I said I agree.
Okay.
What
So
furthermore do you want?
you agree with what? That the prediction of
That
you.
sea levels are increasing, and it's slowly taking over country lands such as beaches and specific paralands.
So you agree that all the beaches, with minor exceptions, should have moved inland at this point, right?
I
Yes or no?
believe that due to the sea levels rising, parts of the beach have been sunk underwater.
Good. But this should be true for all the beaches on the planet, with minor exceptions. You agree or disagree?
I agree, but how does this tackle global warming?
I'm not trying to tackle. I'm just trying to make a prediction. So if we have if global warming is real, that all the beaches, with minor exceptions, should have moved inland. You agree?
I don't know what you mean by inland. Sunken or
The water line of the beach, the beach line,
okay,
should have moved
okay,
inland towards the land.
okay. Yeah,
Do you agree?
I agree.
All right. So now you have to show me all the beaches. You have to take a picture from before global warming. So there's plenty
Yeah.
of pictures of beaches from before global warming. You have to go to the same beaches and take a picture and show me that the beach has moved inland. Do you have such pictures?
I haven't took such pictures, but I'm
Why
pretty
not?
sure you can find them online.
So why not? I mean, if you believe in global warming, then why haven't you collected these pictures to prove to yourself that global warming is real?
Because that's not the only factor to take into
Wait, wait,
consideration.
wait, wait.
And also you have to keep in mind that beaches, right? Let's say like the Western countries, they're well documented, right? Somebody probably back in the 1950s or 60s have taken pictures of the beach.
Yeah.
So I don't have to be more specific than that, but if we were to stay on your topic, okay, the beach line, okay, that some parts of the minor parts of the beach may have been sunken, and that the beach line must have been pushed up. We can definitely find that if we just search up, for example, Brighton Beach. Uh, if we just search up Brighton Beach 1950,
Mm-hmm.
let's see if we can find something.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can find something for you. Brighton Beach.
Can I interrupt for a second and ask a question?
Yes,
Sure.
of course, Tar.
Which one of you is claiming that global warming is real?
I'm claiming that it's not real. It's fake.
Okay, baby alien, I am a Russian. Give me one fucking reason to oppose global warming.
I don't understand what you're saying. Give you a reason that.
Oppose? But you're
Yeah,
already
why
opposing.
should I not be rejoiced at global warming as a Russian?
Yeah, me too. That's another good point. But global warming is fake, and if it's not fake, it would be great. I wish we had global warming. Global warming is terrific. But
Well,
Okay.
not for everyone, but for my country it is.
yeah,
All
I
right.
think it's good for everyone. I think it's good.
I made a so I made a point.
You found
I
pictures?
made a point to him. No, no, not yet. But he said, give me something. I made a point to him before with the picture things about the beach. I don't know whether you believe in it or not, but there's many scientific researches on this that compared to 1950s, 1960s, back in the days, compared to now, that the glaciers in the North Pole and South Pole are melting way much faster at a rapid pace,
Yeah,
right?
we said
Due
that that's
to
true. You said
yeah,
you agreed
and I
that if that's true, then all the beaches should have moved inland. You agreed with my prediction based on your
I
theory.
agree.
That right? So show me the beaches. You have to show me that by far most beaches, I would say 99 point at least 9%, almost 100% of beaches should have moved inland. So show me some pictures of this effect.
Okay. Uh, sure.
Well, to be fair, whether the global warming would affect the beaches just due to the north and south ice poles melting, so it's not necessarily the case because it depends on how much water is being held up in the ice there at any given time.
Yeah, but
Maybe it's not that much. Uh, well,
but
what I'm saying is
Mhm.
uh, these ice caps could have melted due to rising temperature and still not have affected the sea level too much.
Yes, I
It's
agree. But
possible.
I agree. But the scientists have been predicted for many years that the sea levels are going.
Scientists scientists are whores. You do not need to take their opinion into
Well,
consideration.
I agree, but half of the population they vote for Biden, so you have to wake them up.
It doesn't matter. Half, like 90% of the population are retarded. So what do you care?
Yeah, but they vote. Half of these people vote. You need to wake them up, and they think that we need to.
Well, you can rejoice then because voting doesn't do shit anywhere.
No, are you kidding? Of course, voting is these people vote for socialism. They vote for communism. You don't think?
Oh, okay. So let me get it straight. You think that global warming is a hoax, but you believe in fucking democracy? Really?
Hmm.
What do you mean? I don't.
You believe in democracy?
What do you mean believe in democracy? I don't. What do you mean?
You think that voting does anything?
What do you mean? Of course it does.
You just said it.
No, but you how can you say that it doesn't?
And
I don't understand.
and you have the goal to call baby alien a conspiracy theorist?
I didn't call him a conspiracy theorist. Why would I say that?
Well, I'm just well. Yeah, I'm making a point here.
Yeah.
In my opinion, believing in global warming is an order of magnitude less insane than believing in democracy.
I don't understand why you would say that. What's your so
Do
what's
you?
your evidence?
Okay,
What's your evidence that there is no democracy, like let's say the United States?
remember how they accused Trump of election interference from Russia?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, this is going to take a while. What exactly was the mechanism by which Russia was supposedly interfering with American elections?
I
Do you
don't know.
remember it?
I look. You need to show me evidence that there is no democracy in the United States, because I can show you endless evidence that there is a democracy in the United States. So you need to show me.
I'm trying
Mhm.
trying to make a point here.
Okay.
Okay, so the reason they said that Russia was interfering in the elections
Hmm.
is they made a bunch of bot farms which were making pro-Trump replies and posts on social media.
Okay.
Okay, so how do you square the necessary presuppositions of democracy, that being the rationality of the populace, which is voting, with the fact that a presidential election could have been swayed by a bunch of bots leaving one neuron level statements on social media, and that affected the election outcome. How do you square those?
I don't see the contradiction.
So you are not denying that people in their magnitude are completely idiotic.
It doesn't matter if we agree that the people are idiots. Doesn't influence whether there is or isn't a democracy. So the people are idiots, and
Fair enough.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, okay, we got that covered.
got what covered?
That the people are retarded.
No, I didn't concede.
However,
I didn't concede that the people are retarded. I'm saying it's irrelevant. If I concede, if I grant you that the people are retarded, that does not influence your proposition that there is no, or there is a democracy. It's orthogonal. The evidence, like if we agree that the people are retarded, that has nothing to do with whether there is or isn't a democracy in the United States. I don't see.
that's actually true. You make a good point. I
Oh,
need to make another
Um,
argument,
yeah.
I
Okay.
but
have
let's let Baby Alien speak.
Yeah.
I have so the beach I'm currently looking at is a beach in UK. It's called Brighton Beach.
Okay.
It's down south of England.
Okay.
They they have a their borough has a particular council which documents their beach.
Okay.
There's no specific pictures,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But they do have narratives on how their beach is changing, whether you take that as whether you want to take this textual evidence as evidence.
I don't understand. So I'd like to
There's
see.
text.
I'll tell you what will convince me that there is global warming. So you find, or anyone is welcome to find pictures of beaches from before the global warming. The globe was warming. Take and I'm on Google right now. Actually, I'm on Brave, and I'm doing a search, and I found multiple pictures of old, very old pictures of beaches from about 100 years ago. So take any one of those pictures, go to the same place, and try and take a similar picture, meaning from the same distance, the same angle. Try to reproduce this picture and show me how the beach itself moved inland. And this you have to do for many, many beaches. And on average, you have to show that the beaches indeed, on average, have moved inland. It should be really straightforward.
Listen,
Yeah.
to actually document these beaches, you have to take your time and profession within it.
What do you mean?
But
What? Anyone can do this.
because
This could be an open.
anybody can do this,
Yeah, this
but
can
do
be.
you know the geography of oceans and its backwash? You know the the waves. Do you know what a backwash is? Backwash.
No.
It has to do with the ocean. It's a backwash where when the beach, when the ocean goes up towards the beach, it goes all the way back down, right? There's a certain period where the where the water goes up and then goes back down, right? It depends for how long it goes down, but eventually goes back up, right? It can't if I go like at a specific designated time, it can't be recorded, right? I can't get the accurate results for or if climate change has risen. But when you see on the beaches now, they have these long gridded lines. You may have seen it on the beach. It's like long gridded lines going from the beach into the ocean, right? These long lines which go into the ocean, right, shows you how the beach shifts up. So when the beach shifts up into the land, it shows you how the water, the ocean has been eroding and moving up the land, pushing it upwards, right? The beach I'm looking at, Brighton, has been documented. It has this long gridded line that goes from the start of the beach into the land. And now they're showing that the land has been pushed more upwards due to the ocean's erosion, right? Because when the ocean hits the sand or hits the land, it water can erode stuff, right?
I don't.
Because of the thaw and cracking.
I honestly don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what this phenomenon is about.
Uh,
But there's.
for you to understand this, you have to study geography.
Okay, baby Leon, I have a more interesting question.
Sure.
Why should my country, Russia, not do everything it can to accelerate global warming?
The same goes for Canada, and most of the U.S.
No, let him answer. Come on, let him answer.
So why shouldn't your country do anything to accelerate global warming?
Yeah.
Simply cooking up the earth.
What?
Cooking the earth.
Most of the Earth is too cold for humans to live in. So.
Well, not most of the Earth, but most of Russia certainly is.
Yeah.
So why shouldn't we just warm up the Earth?
Yeah. Most people die in the winter. Very few people. Most people that die.
Come on, dude. Come on. Let him think. Let him answer.
I think mostly because of climate change, right? And you don't believe in climate change, but I believe in climate change. And because of climate change, right? Maybe if your country, okay, your country may not be frequently affected by climate change and the global warming and how you're contributing to it, but it may contribute to other countries, right? Such as when when the Earth's temperature significantly increases, right? There's more frequently there's more extreme weather events, right? Such as severe heat waves. Well, we've all witnessed this, right? And there's more scientific research when summertime comes around, there is the heat waves increases by far, right? And there is also intensified storms, right? In America, there's a lot of storms. Why? Because of climate change. In Africa, on the east side, west side, my apologies. there's more frequent storms, there's more flash floods, and etc. For example, Bangladesh, for for example, right, it's been slowly sunk into water, right, because the sea levels are rising. Like their land and how they what they grew up upon, they're slowly being submerged underwater. Countries like Fiji, I believe it's Fiji, they've almost lost their entire land due to climate
Okay,
change.
so America, Africa, Bangladesh will get fucked. Dude, I'm
Ah,
asking for downsides here.
what do you mean? I am giving you downsides, loss of
It's not a
biodiversity.
downside. I would rejoice if they got fucked.
Okay, maybe America, because I know Russia's enemies America.
No, Africa. I would if
Uh,
Africa got fucked and America didn't, I would prefer that.
why? What's your problem with Africa?
They're like 80 IQ. They're violent. They have produced nothing of value. They never will.
But don't you believe that? Okay, maybe if it wasn't due to American slavery, they could have done far much better, and that most of their presidents, which actually had good idea plans to further
Okay,
improve
let's not
the
talk about
country.
fantasy here.
I mean, let's talk about Gaddafi for a moment. Did he not have good
Gaddafi,
ideas?
no, by Africans I mean
Oh,
sub-Saharan Africans, not Arabs. Arabs are a different story.
all right. What's that one Nigerian president? Forgot his name, but he was assassinated.
Don't they all the time in Africa?
But he was shot down in a plane. He would shoot. Which African has like a Stinger or a rocket to
You
shoot
think
down?
that's why Africa is a complete failure?
No, it's a failure because of outside corporations such as Shell coming into the country and
All right, whatever. We don't need to
exploiting
talk
the
about
economy.
that.
Alright. I mean, you did ask.
Anyway, well, basically, I heard no reason for Russia not to accelerate global warming.
I'm not
All of
saying.
our enemies will get like fucked by it more than us, and we will get a tropical hyperborea.
Mm,
Why should we do it? Like for real?
just think how left Russia. I mean, well, let's take for example. Let's take heat wave. Heat for example, right?
But it will affect our enemies more.
That's the problem. Is that the perspective I'm looking at, the perspective that you're looking at how it can benefit you, how climate change can benefit you the most, and put
Of
your enemies
course,
down. I'm looking at the perspective how we can all live cohesively.
we can't. That's never gonna
I
happen.
mean, we can't, but we should. I believe that we should try to our utmost best.
That's impossible. It's a utopia.
I know, but I'm saying that
So
to
you need
our
to sell it.
utmost best.
So you need to sell it to me. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about
Not ju-
Russia. I don't know how climate change
no, no.
specifically will affect Russia in its agriculture.
What I'm making is a point. You need
Yeah,
to sell it to me. You need to sell it to China. You need to sell it to India and African countries who are
yeah.
industrially underdeveloped. And once they gain an industry, if they ever do, they will produce a shit ton of carbon in the atmosphere. But if they don't, they will remain poor forever. So if you can't even sell it to Russia, who is relatively well off compared to the West, then how the fuck are you gonna sell it to the poor countries who don't even have an industry yet?
Yeah, I agree with Tark. But listen,
I
guys,
agree.
maybe
But
maybe
what I'm
listen,
trying to make,
maybe
what I'm trying
let
to
me
say is
just
I don't know how, I don't know Russia's specifics, right?
maybe
I don't know whether
hold
you
on.
care
Can
about
you just give me a minute?
bio
Can you just give me a second?
trying to
I need
answer.
because I'm streaming this on YouTube. I want to stop the stream and I want to also leave and go do my work. So, guys, I'm going to leave the room. You can continue talking. Let me just make Tark send you a friend request. And Baby Alien, I'll send you a friend request. So, we're going to keep in touch. And I'm leaving. See you guys later. Bye. All right. And I'm going to finish the stream at this point because I got to get back to work. And I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.